home to school and school to home, I forget how to do everything, like how I go. So, Greece, unity and division. And basically, this is going to be the after effects of the Persian Wars. So, remember, the Greeks were unified. They were ecstatic because, let's face it, these little tiny Greek city-states defeated the largest, strongest, most powerful empire in the entire world. This is a big deal, all right? And so the Greeks, they feel proud to be Greek. There's a sense of unity, accomplishment, happiness, joy amongst them. But there's also the looming fear that Persia will come back. Because remember, the Persian Wars, they take over 20 years for them to come to fruition. You know, it's a long time for soldiers to move back then. So they didn't know if the Persians were going to come back. They didn't know if Greece was still in danger. So they create the Delian League to protect themselves against future Persian invasions. Because remember, in the beginning of the war, that was the big challenge, getting the Greeks to fight together. The Greeks fought, the Athenians fought alone at Marathon. That's, not great odds when there's going to have so many more resources. So the city-states, they agree. We will help each other in case there's another threat coming, which is great, this big peace treaty amongst these Greek city-states. And in the yellow here, we could see this was the Delian League. These are the city-states that all agreed to help each other. Now, do you notice an area of Greece that we know there are some city-states that you don't see any yellow? It might be tough because the map is small, but yes, Ashlyn?
Sparta?
Exactly. Almost the entire Peloponnesian Peninsula, you don't see any yellow. You see a little bit over there, but yes, Sparta's part of that. Sparta does not join. Now, Athens, their Acropolis was destroyed, parts of their city in ruins. They say, can we have a little bit of the money from the Delian League to go and fix our city up? And they say, yeah, of course, you guys, you led us so well at Marathon. You led us at Salamis. You helped, you made it so that we could win. And that money keeps going. It doesn't just stop going to Athens after they win after they rebuild the Acropolis, which, of course, they build it a little nicer than it was before. We get the Parthenon being built at this time, which it's kind of funny that a lot of people back then thought it was like one of the most ugly buildings ever, but today we hail it as this amazing piece of architecture. We'll talk more about the Parthenon, I think, next week. And but the money keeps flowing in, and Athens is going to become super duper rich. Now let's think about this. We have Athens. They're getting all this money. They think of how they are the example to Greece, that they are the best. They start turning to the dark side. Yes, they do. And we're going to look at this descent into darkness and then how they're plunged out of it. Now, Athens becomes the leader of the Delian League. They go and they're the ones calling the shots. And they start going and being mega bullies with this. Not only are they using the money to rebuild the city, but to build it nicer, they are also going and building these walls. They're building walls all around Athens. And, it's one of those things that people like places like Sparta, they say, why are you building all these walls, Athens? You're not at war right now. Persia isn't here. We won. Why are you building walls? Are you afraid of your Greek neighbors? And Athens goes, oh, no, of course not. But Athens keeps building all these walls. They're using the money from the Delian League to build the walls, and that makes the Spartans distrust them. Some city-states say, you know what? We don't want to be part of the Delian League anymore. If something does happen, you can count on us, but we can't pay you money all the time to be part of this club. And Athens sends their army to the other city-states, Greek city-states, and says, oh, you're staying in the Delian League. They go there and force them in. They don't let them leave. Or they might say, well, we're not going to pay you the money. Well, they take the money. So Athens becomes bullies. And, Standing up to bullies is an important thing. Mr. Kenny actually did this today because even grown-ups can be bullies. And I was just like, no, you don't treat people that way. It's not nice. And Sparta is going to stand up to Athens being a bully. All right? And creates the Peloponnesian League. So we see over on this map here, now the Delian League is in orange and the Peloponnesian League is in purple. And pretty much almost all of the Greek city-states choose a side. Do they follow Athens or do they follow Sparta? And of course, when we have two sides, they're not very happy at each other. Eventually, this leads to a war. And this war will be called the Peloponnesian War, which is going to last 27 long years. That's a long time for a war to be going on. That's most of Mr. Kenny's life. That's like almost 3 of you all. So we get to this guy named Pericles. Now, you read about him yesterday in your homework. We're going to look more at Pericles and his speech on Tuesday. But Pericles was the leader of Athens at this time. And after a battle, he gives a speech. And, a fancy word for speech is an oration. So I give you an oration every day as I talk about the Greeks and the Persians here. And he says that Athens is the model for Greece, that democracy was the best, and that every Greek city should be like Athens. And he goes and says that, these Greek soldiers here, they died fighting for Athenian values. The idea that people should be free if you're a boy and you're not a slave. Because, of course, remember that Athens wasn't completely free because they didn't give freedom to everybody. But he said that every city-state should be like Greece. Here's a quote. These take as your model, and judging happiness to be the fruit of freedom and the freedom of valor, never decline the dangers of war. Meaning saying, Athens is so good, it is worth fighting and dying for. So that's what Pericles argues. And like I said, we're going to look at this speech more closely on Tuesday. So, the Peloponnesian War. Now, we have 2 very different sides of the Peloponnesian War. We have Athens, which is going to be very wealthy, and they're going to have a humongous navy. They're going to have these big walls protecting the city. And we have Sparta, which is going to have a very large and strong land army. They've got those Spartan hoplites. They're the best of the best. Now, Athens had soldiers like that, but not as many, not as well trained. In a head-to-head battle, how could Athens possibly win? And the Athenians, they know this. So they hide behind their walls because, like, what? Is Lance going to chip away a whole wall with his spear? Is Caleb going to hit it with his sword till it falls down? No, that's not going to happen. So the Athenians, they stay behind their walls. And Athens is safe. Sparta can't do anything about it. But here's the problem. Tons and tons of people flock to the city of Athens. They want to be safe from the Spartans, so they go behind those walls. People that lived outside of the city walls, people from other city-states, and Athens becomes overpopulated. Now you might be thinking, Mr. Kenny, why are you talking about population and all these things? What does that really matter? Well, I actually have gotten to take part. My church is planning on expanding and growing and like breaking ground. And one of the things you have to do when you're applying to go get the permits is you need to make sure that you have enough facilities for everyone. You need to have enough space to have a certain occupancy. You need to have enough water, enough bathrooms. And that's always been the case throughout all of history. In order to have lots of people, you have to have enough places to go potty. Yes, we're talking about potty, folks. So, pee-pee and poo-poo is gross. I hope you know this. All right? It's yucky. And one of the things that people in the earliest of times learned, I mean, you go look and look at the book of Leviticus. One of the first laws that the Hebrews were given is keep your pee-pee and poo-poo away from where you live. Okay? Today, we have technology as the potty, where your pee-pee and poo-poo goes magically away. They did not have such technology back then. And as more and more people are in Athens, and more people have to go pee-pee and poo-poo, that pee-pee and poo-poo starts piling up. Yes, I know. It's smelly, it's gross, but it's the truth. And as pee-pee and poo-poo pile up, all those peas there, people start getting sick because pee-pee and poo-poo, like I said, is gross. Like I said, pee-pee and poo-poo have vermin come, and those flies, they get on the pee-pee poo-poo, then they go on you or on your food, and then you're ingesting pee-pee poo-poo, and you get sick. Okay? So plague goes through Athens, and tons and tons and tons of people get sick. Yes, exactly. People lose their lives because of the plague. Even Pericles himself, the leader of Athens, succumbs to the plague. Yeah, Mariah, this might not be, good for your bro here. Anyways, Athens is crippled. They are weakened, and they go sign a truce with Sparta. They say, we are too sick to fight. We cannot. And Sparta lets up. They say, okay. But wouldn't you know it? As soon as Athens is strong enough, as soon as Athens has recovered, they go back to war with Sparta. And they have this epic naval battle at Agospotami. And at Agospotami, now we think, Athens, they've got the navy. Surely Athens will win. But this was all a trick. Sparta has made a deal with Persia. Dun, dun, dun. That's right. Persia, their old arch nemesis. Yeah, I love the reaction, Karachi. That was amazing. Yeah, so Sparta, they go to Persia. They say, we don't have any boats. And Persia says, I'll tell you what, we'll give you boats and we'll give you sailors to go beat the Athenians. Because remember, Darius, after the Ionian revolts, remember those Athenians every time he was about to bite his pork chop? You know how then Xerxes was like, hey, my daddy didn't get revenge, but I'm getting revenge on those Athenians. Now, finally, Persia has made good on its promise to get revenge on the Athenians. I know, right? Isn't it just amazing? And really, since Athens was being a bully, they kind of deserved it. Not that I approve of people getting killed or anything like that, but seriously, Athens were being jerks. Sparta makes a deal with Persia. They have a navy. 90% of the Athenian fleet is annihilated. Yeah, I know. Well, sometimes you got to do the long con. You got to wait for it. I love you guys. And so Athens is forced to surrender. Now, we didn't go into the nitty-gritty detail of the Peloponnesian War, but what we need to see is Athens became too big for its britches. Athens tried to control its Greek brethren. Even though they preached freedom, they were cruel and unloving to their fellow Greek city-states, and their hubris brought them down by the Spartans. Now, we're going to be transitioning to a new era of Greece. Pretty soon we're going to start talking about Greek culture. We're going to talk about the Greek gods and goddesses, which I know Alicia has been very patiently waiting for. We're going to talk about Greek architecture and all that stuff. And we're going to also talk about a little guy, Mr. the Great, Alexander, coming up. So these next couple of weeks are going to be pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson today. Oh, yeah. Sparta cut lines of trade and Athens defeated. Duh. We knew they were defeated. Do we have any questions or comments? And let me stop my recording before we do that. Any questions, comments? Yes.